live on YouTube because I can see there's one person there. Welcome. If you're watching on YouTube now, great to have you with us. I've just been saying hello to everyone on Zoom. And here, maybe I can pin Emily. She doesn't mind me doing that for any friends who are watching who might like to see and say hello. Now, I'm sorry I didn't catch the name of your little one.
Simeon. He's called Simeon Joel Hobbs.
Fabulous. Oh, that's great. Well, congratulations, and yeah, what a treat to have a rehearsal with. I mean, this must be the youngest choir in Doncaster now, easily. So that's that's good news. Right. Okay, let's get ourselves warmed up, shall we? We're just going to start with a hum. We'll only open to the ooh once we reach the top. So here's what I mean. We're going to think about the lovely resonance you're getting with the hum and taking that into your ooh. In fact, let's just go back down in order to do that. 3. Good. Excuse me. So we're going to think about that ooh. We're now going to take that down the scale. Ooh. And think about the purity and the quality of your ooh vowel. 3. This time, ooh, e. As you're going from one vowel to the other, I'd like to think about the placement of the tongue and what's happening inside the mouth, all the kind of mechanics of how we're creating the ooh, and then the shift of the tongue to the e vowel. Ooh, ee, ooh, ee. And really be aware. You can kind of take your time a little bit, and don't worry if it sounds not too pretty as you just kind of become more aware of the tongue. Ooh, ee, ooh, ee. If you work it out, that's completely fine. But it's really good to be aware of what's going on in there. So ooh, 3. Okay, lovely. Right, I'm going to crack straight on this evening because we've got lots to get through. In fact, Margaret suggested it might be nice to have to start with having a bit of a sing of the Nunc Dimittis that we looked at, which is that a setting of Mendelssohn. So I'll share the music on the screen. So I'm going to do throughout this evening. What I'll try to do is make them all which I want fairly large and clear. So hopefully it should be easy to read, regardless of what device you're on. But I'm just going to jump ahead and just look at a couple of moments. I'm going to start here at bar 39. This is a reminder of this section for those who sang it before Christmas, and for those who are reading it for the first time. We can have a look at this together. So altos, you lead us here melodically. To be a light, to lighten the Gentiles of the people. Now there's a typo here, and what is a B flat on people should be written as a B natural. I don't think Mendelssohn intended to have a moment in the middle there. So just watch out for that B natural there. Let's read once more with some. We'll keep going. To be and to be a light, to lighten the Gentiles of thy people Israel. Gentiles of thy people Israel. Tenors, let's have a look at your section. To be and one. To be a light, to lighten the Gentiles of thy people Israel. To be a light, and off you go. Basses. To be a light, a kind of light bell-like quality here. To be a light and to be a light, to be a light, and to be the glory of thy people Israel. To be a light, to be, etc. We'll look at that section together in a moment. Sopranos, and to be the glory of thy people Israel. Let's do that together. And to be the glory of thy people Israel, to be a light. And off you go there with the melodic ideas. Let's have a go together from the very beginning, and see how much of this we can remember after the few weeks off we've had.
Lord, let us now thy servant depart in peace. Now let thy servant depart in peace, according to thy word.
And repetition with the altos.
Lord, let us now thy servant depart in peace. Now let thy servant depart in peace, according to thy word. For mine eyes have seen thy salvation, which thou hast prepared before the face face of all people. For mine eyes have seen thy salvation, which thou hast prepared, before the face of all people. Of thy people is there to be a light to lighten and to see the glory of thy people, to be the glory of thy people, to be the glory of thy people. Thy people is there. All glory to the Father, and glory to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, that Trinity in one, as it was in the beginning, is now and ever shall be, world without end, world without end. Without end. Amen.
Okay, so hopefully you're feeling warmed up and got the larynx moving after a little while since the last time we were singing together. But actually, I'm just going to leave that there for today. But it's been good to have a look at that, sing through that. But we're going to have a look in a bit more depth now at the new work, the Jonathan Dove. We looked at one movement from it before Christmas. As I mentioned, this is we're looking at a work called The Passing of the Year. And this evening we're going to look at two movements. The final movement, which we looked at before Christmas, which is Ring Out Wild Bells. But to start with, a movement called Our Sunflower, which is the text, William Blake text. And so I'll share it on the screen with you. Still lost my mouse momentarily. Okay. So hopefully you can see that now. And to begin with, we'll have a read through it. And I'll play the recording of it, so you can get an idea of how this all fits together. But suffice to say, before we start, it's written as a double chorus. So you can see here tenors and basses. Actually, this is choir 1 and choir 2. For now, I'm going to concentrate in terms of our the teaching today. I'm going to concentrate on the chorus 1 part. But feel free to look at whichever chorus part you'd ordinarily be working towards, but for the purposes of today, I'll concentrate on choir 1. As you can see, we're starting together tenors and basses, but as we reach this page, then splits into the two choirs. And as you can see, one of the great features of Jonathan Dove writing is these canonic figures. And so this passage here simply is sunflower, and put into a round. Sunflower. And as you sing that, I'd like to imagine that it's almost like the sun is suddenly bursting through the curtains and warming you up. Sunflower. And it carries on. Weary of time, who countest the steps of the sun. Okay, so that's our main melody that will be will get us going through that section there. And then there's another idea coming in here at figure 34, which is led by the first basses. Seeking after that sweet golden clime, where the traveller's journey is done. Okay, should sing that together. So I'm just looking here at the first bass part, but we can all sing that. Seeking after that sweet golden clime, where the traveller's journey is done. And as you can see, everybody then gets that in a round. So there's a little heads up of a couple of corners, but let's go together from the very beginning. We'll have a bit of a read through it. Alto, tenor, bass, Okay. So I'm sorry the final page is quite small, but I thought we might get away with one page that small. So let's have a look at the melody together at the very beginning. Sunflower, weary of time, who countest the steps of the sun, seeking after that sweet golden clime where the traveller's journey is done. And then repeat. So let's just sing that once more together. One and a two. Sunflower, weary of time, who countest the steps of the sun, seeking after that sweet golden clime where the traveller's journey is done. Then then second soprano, first alto, second alto, first tenor, second tenor, first bass, second bass. Okay. Good. Excellent. So that first section is fairly straightforward, really. Once you've got the idea of that melodic idea, you're good to go throughout the whole of that section. So I'm just going to jump ahead then to figure 36. Now you'll notice the first choir and the second choir, sopranos and altos, you have the same material but just spaced a bar apart. So let's all look at the first choir together here, sopranos and altos. So soprano, alto. Why don't you read this together? One. So for lots of that, you've got lovely parallel sixths. But to start with, you've got parallel fifths. Rules are there to be broken, hey? And it's important just to be really good and clear. One of the tricky things with singing parallel fifths is actually keeping the intonation good and true. And then, of course, when it's the two choirs together, we'll get these lovely crunchy moments all the way along it. There we go. So it's all working against one another, but somehow ends up really delicious. As the tenors and basses sing, whether you've pined away with desire, and the pale virgin, and then of course here it splits tenors and basses, so I'll look at the tenor part first. Virgin shrouded in snow, arise from their graves and aspire, where my sunflower wishes to go. Okay. Bass is the little moment of harmony here. And the pale virgin shrouded in snow arise from their graves and aspire, where my sunflower wishes to go. Okay. So individually, all these parts are pretty straightforward, really. why don't we have a look from this section here, around figure 36, where the gentlemen have whether youth, soprano, alto. I just play us into that a little. And one. Okay, lovely, good. I'll just point out here bar 55, 47, 48, 49. Oh, sorry. 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54. 55 is here. And then as you turn the page, we get 55 again. So this is a first edition. The copy here is the first edition, and there's this typo of we get bar 55 twice. So we just have to scrub one of those bars at that point. Great. Let's go together once more, right from the very beginning. Really think about the warmth of the crescendos. It's suddenly it's like it opens up. Ah, sunflower. So less about the volume and more about the warmth in the sound. Here we go. Okay, lovely, well done. So there you are. There's a good introduction to the fifth movement. As I say, we're going to have a look at the seventh movement of the Passing of the Year this evening. But first, we'll see how we do for time, actually, when we get to the second movement, so the final movement. We're going to have a look at an encore-style piece. It's a nice jolly number. Get us going on a Tuesday evening on a damp January. And this is an arrangement of the Battle of Jericho by Moses Hogan, who is a really wonderful African-American composer and arranger who died a couple of decades ago now, I think. There's wonderful anthologies of Moses Hogan's arrangements, which are all great fun. But this arrangement of the Battle of Jericho is really quite something. And this is, I thought I'd just show you a performance because it's probably easier to get an idea of it to actually hear it sung. And so this is the Mormon Tabernacle Choir singing it, who are a fantastic large choir in the States. So here it is.
Joshua did the battle, it's the battle of Jericho. Joshua did the battle, it's the battle of Jericho. Joshua did the battle, the battle of Jericho. The battle of Jericho. The battle of Jericho. The battle of Joshua did the battle. The battle of Jericho. The battle of Joshua. The battle of Joshua did the battle. It's the battle of Jericho. Joshua did the battle. It's the battle of Jericho. Joshua did the battle. The battle of Jericho. The battle of Jericho. The battle of Jericho. The battle of Joshua did the battle. The battle of Jericho. The battle of Joshua. The battle of Joshua did the battle. The battle of Jericho. Joshua did the battle. The battle of Jericho. Talk about your kings of Gideon. Go on, you can talk about your men of Saul. Go on, yes, you can talk about your good old Joshua and the battle of Jericho. That morning, Joshua did the battle. The battle of Jericho. The battle of Jericho. The battle of Jericho. The battle of Joshua did the battle. The battle of Jericho. The battle of Joshua. The battle of Joshua did the battle. The battle of Jericho. Joshua did the battle. The battle of Jericho. Right up to the walls of Jericho. Jericho. He marched with spear in hand. Lo, the Lord javelin, bravely Joshua cried. 'Cause the battle lamp in my hand. God Almighty, then the battle lamp she holds against you. Oh, the battle trumpet begins to sound. Joshua the battle begins to shout, and the walls come tumbling down. Oh Lord, you know that Joshua did the battle. Yes, the battle of Jericho. Joshua did the battle. Yes, the battle of Jericho. Joshua did the battle. Yes, the battle of Jericho. Walls come tumbling down. Oh Lord, you know that Joshua did the battle. Yes, the battle of Jericho. Joshua did the battle. Yes, the battle of Jericho. Joshua did the battle. Yes, the battle of Jericho.
So it's quite something singing that with 300 people so crisply, but it's great. I think it's a great fun arrangement. And you'll see it's written for 3 upper voices parts and split into 4 for tenors and basses. So we'll look at all 4 of those, but obviously. I won't know who's singing what anyway, so I'll trust you as whichever part you're going to look at there. So tenors and basses starts with you in a very nimble, light, or precise is probably the better word. Way. Tenor 1. Joshua fit the battle of Jericho. Joshua fit the battle of Jericho. Okay, 2, 3. Joshua fit the battle of Jericho. Joshua fit the battle of Jericho. Tenor 2. Joshua fit the battle of Jericho. Joshua fit the battle of Jericho. You can enjoy your E naturals when you get them. And again. Joshua fit the battle of Jericho. Joshua fit the battle of Jericho. Bass 1. Joshua fit the battle of Jericho. Joshua fit the battle of Jericho. It's a lovely little chromatic moments for you, and again. Joshua fit the battle of Jericho. Joshua fit the battle of Jericho. Bass 2, watch out that your rhythm is different, and do use the rest as an opportunity to get a quick breath in. Joshua fit the battle, yes, the battle of Jericho. Joshua fit the battle, yes, the battle of Jericho. Low F's beyond me today, but hopefully that gave you an idea of it. Let's do that. Why don't we do basses together? First bass, second bass, 2, 3. Okay, all gentlemen. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now, sopranos and altos. You're split into 3, but it can be an equal split. So altos, I don't know how you'd ordinarily split into 3, whether you might have some first altos and some second sopranos singing the middle parts. But we'd aim for an equal split 3 ways. We're going to start with the second alto part, or what's written on the sheet as just the alto part. Joshua fit the battle of Jericho, Jericho, Jericho. Joshua fit the battle of Jericho, and the wall come tumbling down. Okay, should we try that together? And Joshua fit the battle of Jericho, Jericho, Jericho. Joshua fit the battle of Jericho, and the wall come tumbling down. Second soprano and first alto. 1 and Joshua fit the battle of Jericho, Jericho, Jericho. Joshua fit the battle of Jericho, and the wall come tumbling down. And it is plural walls. Joshua fit the once more seconds. 1 and 2. Joshua fit the battle of Jericho, Jericho, Jericho. Joshua fit the battle of Jericho, and the walls come tumbling down. And first sopranos, Joshua fit the battle. 1 and Joshua fit the battle of Jericho, Jericho, Jericho. Joshua fit the battle of Jericho, and the walls come tumbling down. So there's opportunity here, all sopranos and altos, to be rather naughty. Jericho, and have a little slidey moment. Only in this piece. But we well, we've got it. We'll have fun with it. Basses. Second bass. Joshua, the battle, Joshua, the battle, Joshua, the battle, Joshua, the battle, Joshua, etc. So I'm sure we'll all be fine with that. Second basses. First basses. Joshua, the battle, Joshua, the battle, Joshua, the battle, Joshua, the battle, Joshua. The battle, Joshua, the battle, Joshua, the battle, Joshua fit the battle of Jericho, Josh. And then we're back into what we know from before. Second tenors, Joshua, the battle, 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 Joshua fit the battle of Jericho, Josh. And same as before. Finally, first tenors. Joshua, the battle, 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 Joshua fit the battle of Jericho, Josh, etc. Okay. Then we get to the second verse, where there's or a repetition of the first verse, I should say. I'm going to have a look at this section of bar 9 now, before we run, to give you fighting chance. First sopranos. Talk about your kings of Gideon, talk about your men of Saul, but none like good old Joshua at the battle of Jericho. Okay, so quite heavy towards the end there. Second sopranos. Talk about your kings of Gideon, talk about your men of Saul, but none like good old Joshua at the battle of Jericho. Jericho. So have your E natural there. Altos. Talk about your kings of Gideon, talk about your men of Saul, but none like good old Joshua at the battle of Jericho. Okay. Tenors and basses through this section. Note-wise, it's fairly straightforward. Rhythmically, you just need to be very precise. So you'll have... Talk about him at the battle of Jericho that morning, the basses, and then we're back into the first idea. Joshua, the battle Joshua, and Joshua the battle of Jericho, as we were before. I'll look at that next time. And bar 19, first sopranos have right up to the walls of Jericho. He marched with spear in hand. Go blow that ram horn, Joshua cried. And then on to this next section we'll come to in a moment. And the middle part, upper voices. Right up to the walls of Jericho. He marched with spear in hand. Go blow that ram horn, Joshua cried. And the alto part. Right up to the walls of Jericho. He marched with spear in hand. Go blow that ram horn, Joshua cried. Joshua cried. Okay. Good. Tenors and basses. It's somewhat unexpected here, the D natural. So second bass is just on the F. First bass is on the A flat. Second tenor, a C. And then first tenor is on a D natural. Jericho, Jericho. And then similar for blow that horn. Blow that horn. Okay. So rhythmically, you've got right up to the walls of Jericho. Jericho, march with spear in hand. Blow that horn. Okay, that's how that fits in. Right, that's enough of me talking through it. Let's have a bit of a sing. Here we go. Now this is I'm going to use a different recording where it's slightly stronger to hear. The parts are a bit clearer.
Joshua.
Okay, but it's clearer, but it's a little bit quicker. So hold your horses, everyone. Right, here we go.
Joshua fit the battle, yes, the battle of Jericho. Joshua fit the battle, yes, the battle of Jericho.
Joshua fit the battle of Jericho. Jericho, Jericho. Joshua fit the battle of Jericho, and the walls come tumbling down.
Yes, the battle of Jericho. Joshua fit the battle, yes, the battle of Jericho.
Joshua fit the battle of Jericho. Jericho, Jericho. Joshua fit the battle of Jericho, and the walls come tumbling down.
Joshua fit the battle, yes, the battle of Jericho. Joshua fit the battle, yes, the battle of Jericho.
Talk about your kings of not like good old Joshua at the Battle of Jericho.
That morning
Joshua fit the Battle of Jericho. Jericho, Jericho. Joshua fit the Battle of Jericho. And the walls come tumbling
Joshua fit
down.
the battle, yes, the battle of Jericho. Joshua fit the battle, yes, the battle of Jericho.
Right up to the walls of Jericho.
Jericho.
He marched with spear in hand.
Lord,
The blood of ram on Joshua cried.
was the battle lamp in my hand. God Almighty.
Then the lamb ram sheep horns begins to blow, and the trumpet begins to sound. Joshua commanded the church to shout,
And the walls come tumbling down. Oh Lord, you know the
Joshua
fit the battle, yes,
battle.
the battle of Jericho.
Before the battle.
Joshua fit the battle, yes,
Battle.
the battle of Jericho.
Before the battle.
Joshua fit the battle, yes, the battle of Jericho. The walls come.
So, well done. Tenors and basses. You get a really fantastic line here. I'll sing the tenor part. Battle, battle, oh Lord, yes. Oh, the battle, battle, battle. Oh Lord, yes. Oh, the battle. Okay, or in octaves. There. Battle, battle. 1 and 2. Battle, battle, oh Lord, yes. Oh, the battle, battle, battle. Oh Lord, yes. Oh, the battle. Okay. The next two bars. Battle, battle, oh Lord, yes. Shout, the walls come a tumbling down. Oh Lord, you know that. And the walls come a tumbling down. Okay. Great. To finish off with, before I move on, we're just going to have a look at these 4 bars. And so sopranos. Soprano 1, soprano 2, alto 1, alto 2. So pitch-wise, it's fairly straightforward, but again, just watching out for your rhythm. Basses, you've got the same rhythm here as sopranos and altos. Joshua, battle. He fought the battle. He fought the battle. Jericho. Okay. Basses with your split. Bass 1, bass 2. Joshua. Battle, he fought the battle. He fought the battle. Jericho, tumbling down. Okay. See that again. So we Joshua, 1 and Joshua, battle, he fought the battle. He fought the battle. Jericho. Tumbling down. The good news with everything else, actually, the rhythm's a bit more straightforward. Namely, the tenor part. Joshua fit the battle, yes, the battle of Jericho. Joshua fit the battle, yes, the battle of Jericho. Joshua fit the battle, yes, the battle of Jericho. The walls come. Oh Lord, you know that. Okay. It's quite a trumpety part here, really. Let's try that once then, tenors. 1 and Joshua fit the battle, yes, the battle of Jericho. Joshua fit the battle, yes, the battle of Jericho. Joshua fit the battle, yes, the battle of Jericho. The walls come. Oh Lord, you know that. And off it goes again. Right. Going to be brave. We're going to go right from the very beginning, right to the very end, and then I'll see you there. And we'll leave that there for this week.
Joshua fit the battle, yes, the battle of Jericho. Joshua fit the battle, yes, the battle of Jericho.
Joshua fit the battle of Jericho. Jericho. Joshua fit the battle of Jericho. And the walls come tumbling down.
The battle, yes, the battle of Jericho. Joshua fit the battle, yes, the battle of Jericho.
Joshua fit the battle of Jericho. Joshua fit the battle of Jericho. And the walls come tumbling
Joshua fit the
down.
battle, yes, the battle of Jericho. Joshua fit the battle, yes, the battle of Jericho.
Talk about your kings of Gideon. Gideon.
You can
Talk about your men of Saul.
Yes, you
But
can
not
talk
like
about
good old Joshua at the Battle of Jericho.
that morning.
Joshua fit the Battle of Jericho. Jericho. Joshua fit the Battle of Jericho. And the walls come tumbling down.
The battle, yes, the battle of Jericho. Joshua fit the battle, yes, the battle of Jericho.
Right up to the walls of Jericho.
Jericho.
He marched with spear in hand.
Long,
The blood of ram on Joshua cried.
was the battle lamp in my hand. God Almighty.
Then the lamb and sheep horns begins to blow, and the trumpet begins to sound. Joshua commanded the church to shout,
And the walls come tumbling down. Oh Lord, you know the
Joshua,
fit the battle, yes,
battle,
the battle of Jericho.
before the battle,
Joshua fit the battle, yes,
battle,
the battle of Jericho.
before the battle,
Joshua fit the battle, yes, the battle of Jericho. The walls come tumbling down. Oh Lord, you know Joshua fit the battle, yes, the battle of Jericho.
before the battle,
Joshua fit the battle, yes, the battle of Jericho.
before the battle,
Joshua fit the battle, yes, the battle of Jericho.
Okay, so there we are. So it's a good old encore kind of piece, isn't it? With our remaining time together this evening, it's gone fast, hasn't it? So just me. Let's have a look, if you don't mind. Well, I might save the other dove movement. Is that all right? Am we going to upset people if I save the other dove movement this evening? Are we all happy with that?
Fine.
Yes.
Yeah.
In which case,
Oh,
we're going to have a look at the Alleluia, which is written by Randall Thompson. Now, actually, this piece was written for the Tanglewood Festival, what's now known as the Tanglewood Festival. It was written in 1940, and Randall Thompson was commissioned to write a piece, which is going to be... actually, his commission was to write a fanfare for the opening of the festival. But he had to write something whereby all these musicians from around the world could come together, and no matter what their mother tongue, could actually sing something together. So he's written a piece which is solely using Alleluia, except actually there's an Amen at the very end, because of course it's the one of the few internationally shared words. Well, that and hotel probably, and so there's it's made more sense to sing Hallelujah, and despite it being the commission being for a fanfare, actually it was because it was 1940 and kind of aware of what was happening. I think France was invaded, I think, in 1940. Is that right? And aware of that. Actually, what he wrote was something much less fanfare-like than the commission had asked for. But actually, what has now gone into something the States is now one of the most performed pieces in the States. Here's a little flavour of it from the Los Angeles Master Choral, who are the Los Angeles Philharmonic Chorus. Okay, I'm going to leave it there for today. So you'll see that a lot of this just sits very, very still and very calm. But there's a real undercurrent of movement and of thinking of actually where the phrase is headed. And if we have that in mind, then this will sound really, really wonderful. Soprano, it starts very simply for you. Just on those two notes. Altos, tenor, bass. We're on the wrong screen, sorry. I'm just going to mute. We've got one or two just unmuted. Let's make sure everyone's muted. Okay. Why don't we have a read of this together with the recording straight away? So soprano, alto, tenor, bass. Sense of growth. Lovely. So there you are. So there's a really brief introduction to the Alleluia. So I'm sorry I haven't got into much depth this evening, but over the next few weeks we shall do. Our hour flies by, doesn't it? And so we'll dive into those in more detail over the next coming few weeks. But hopefully that's something to look forward to for the next few Tuesday evenings for you. So thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any notices or anything that need?
No, I can't think of anything. Obviously, we'll be meeting again next week. So good to see you and even more.
Thank you,
Excellent.
Mark.
I don't know about you. I found, but when I was watching the seeing the video of the Los Angeles Master Choral, seeing a concert hall full of people, like some distant memory now, isn't it? Such a long time ago since that. But yeah, one day we'll be.
Yeah.
One day.
But in the meantime, I look forward to seeing you all next week. So thank you all very much.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye all.
Bye.
Bye.